forestry. She has a technical diploma from the BCIT program in Vancouver, as well as a degree and an RPF, the degree from UBC, and then she is an RPF, so a registered professional forester. I'm told that she's described by her staff as an excellent leader and someone who is really invested in building relationships and really getting to know the people that she works with. So that's a little bit about her at work. Personal life, she's married to her husband, Dawn. She has a daughter, Chelsea. They live in the Nanoose area. And this is also what I'm told, that in addition to traveling as a passion, that shopping is also a passion as well. So there you go. So please give a warm welcome to Rhonda Morris.
Well, thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. It's been my pleasure to join you for lunch today to learn more about the important work that the Port Alberni Rotary Club does, and more importantly, to get a chance to meet some of you. My first impressions are that you're a fantastic bunch of people who have fun and bring life and meaning into the community, so I just want to thank you for including me in today's events. I was going to give you a little bit about my background, but thank you, Christina, and probably Jim and Heidi, for contributing to that. I do love the work that I do in Port Alberni. So it's true, I am a professional forester. I work for the Ministry of Forest, Lands and Natural Resource Operations in Port Alberni at our Cherry Creek Road location. I have the privilege of leading a small but mighty team of approximately 26 professionals, technicians, and administrators with expertise in a variety of fields, including forestry, scaling, timber cruising, geography, wildlife and ecosystems, engineering, and land and water management. We're also an office that share our space with other folks from our ministry, including compliance and enforcement team, BC timber sales team, and Heidi's a part of that, BC Recreation and Trails Specialist, and our conservation officers from the Ministry of Environment. Outside our office, but nearby, many of you know our wildfire management teams, located both at the Port Alberni Airport and the Coastal Fire Base near Arrington. While our team may be small, our ministry is one of the largest in government, with over 3,500 employees across the province. Our minister is the Honourable Steve Thompson, and our deputy minister is Tim Sheldon. Our ministry is the province's land manager, responsible for stewardship of provincial Crown land, cultural and natural resources. We oversee a land base of 94.8 million hectares, and the ministry ensures sustainable management of our forests, mineral and land-based resources, supports activities that leads to benefits for all British Columbians, both economically and environmentally, and facilitates public access to a wide range of activities, such as hunting, fishing, and recreation. Specifically, the team that I work with, together with assistance from our regional office in Nanaimo, we're responsible for management of provincial Crown land and resources on southern Vancouver Island, from Victoria to Fanny Bay on the east coast, and Souk to Clapwood Sound on the west. Our work of issuing forest, land, and water authorizations, such as issuing cutting permits to harvest trees, issuing licenses of occupation to use Crown land for various activities, and granting permissions to do work in and about a stream, as well as managing our Forest Service roads network, and establishing critical habitat for species at risk, is just a few of the activities, all which are guided by our ministry's vision of environmental sustainability and economic prosperity. With regards to forestry, we manage almost 100 different forest tenures, both large and small, in our Port Alberni office, which include 5 tree farm licenses, 4 First Nations woodland licenses, 5 community forests, including the one here in Port Alberni, 26 woodlots of up to 800 hectares in size, and several Christmas tree permits. Many of those forest tenures are held directly by or in partnership with our local First Nations. Our team prides itself on providing excellent client service, and I encourage you all to stop by our office or call if you have any questions or need assistance. Our gals at the front counter reception, both Lynn Krupek and Deb Hallworth, are just inside our doors and are always happy to help you. I'm particularly proud of our team. They're a very dedicated and hardworking group, and similar to the Rotary Club, also like to give back to the community. For example, this year, under Jim's leadership and with support of several volunteers in our office, including Heidi, and in the community, we are planning to host National Forestry Week again at the historic McLean's Mill site on September 21st. National Forestry Week first began in the 1920s. Its purpose is to invite Canadians to learn more about Canada's forest heritage and to raise awareness about this valuable and renewable resource. Forests are fundamental to our economy, our culture, traditions and history, and to our future. Communities such as Port Alberni and their families and individuals who depend on the forest for their livelihood and ways of life count on forestry. This year's theme for National Forestry Week is The North, Strong and Green, celebrating Canada's forests. I can tell you that last year, National Forestry Week was a highlight of my career when over 300 grade 5 students arrived on by steam train and bus. It was spectacular to see so many kids, keen and inquisitive youngsters, their spirits not hampered by the rain, trying their hands at using fire hoses, painting wall murals with salmon as their stencils, and learning more about forestry, past and present. I have a little picture here that I thought I'd pass around of the day. So if you'd like to learn more about National Forestry Week or would like to be part of what will sure to be another fun-filled and memorable day, please feel free to contact Jim or I. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'd like to thank you again for the opportunity to be with you today.
I have a question.
Yes.
We're reading a lot in the newspapers now about some of these forest companies putting gates, blocking access to small lakes, recreational facilities.
Yes.
What do you think eventually is going to happen with all this?
Yeah, so as you know, Southern Vancouver Island, because of our history with the Ian Allen Railway Grant, has got a lot of private land, and held by Timber West and Island Timberlands, for example. And while some of the lakes are Crown-owned, the access through their private parcels is privately owned. And I know a lot of the companies work hard to provide, those private companies, to provide recreation, at the same time balancing their needs for security, for fire, theft, vandalism, and that kind of thing. So I would encourage folks, especially the timber companies generally work with organizations like the BC Outdoor Council and clubs like that to provide access and keys and hours when the public can come in and out. So that's on private land. On Crown land, that's our land. It's public land for us to enjoy, and that's part of our ministry mandate. We've got recreation, BC Rec Sites and Trails is a focus area for our ministry. And so for companies on Crown land to put up gates, they first need permission, my permission as per the law. And those are under certain circumstances, again, for fire, theft, vandalism, and it's generally for temporary purposes, because we do try and balance the needs of our forest communities and the protection of our forests with public access, because it is a valuable resource on both levels of providing jobs in the economy, but also providing recreation and tourism opportunities. So I hope I answered your question there.
Yeah. On the private land, when I guess the tree farm licenses were issued and everything else, wasn't it stated that the public would have access to these lakes? That was part of the agreement?
So on tree farm licensed land, for the majority of now, that is Crown land. About 2003, for example, for TFL 44, private land was removed. That was a decision our minister made, our previous minister of the time, removed those lands from the tree farm license. So for the tree farm license for Western Forest Products, for example, here in the valley, or ESAC and Mamook in Clackwood Sound, held by the 5 First Nations Collective, or Teal Jones or Patchett Anderson to the south. Those are tree farm licenses with Crown land. And so before they can put up gates, they need to get prior written permission by myself. And with that, we require keys, and we usually put it for a time-bound circumstances to deal with active logging and safety or high fire hazard, for example. In terms of the lakes, we've got a lot of recreation facilities, you know, our campgrounds that we manage. And, you know, by and large, most of the lakes are Crown land. So we try and provide that access. Any other questions?
I have a question about safety. What do you have in place for safety for our trees and our forests? Because of example, what happened, we were just at a talk last night about Bear Mountain.
Yes.
What could have happened?
For Dog Mountain?
Yes, that's it. So my concern is what are you doing for safety for our forests?
Right, and Ken Takama at the Wildfire Center in Arrington could probably better speak to this, because their focus, the Wildfire Management Branch, is all about fire prevention, mitigation, and suppression. In our group, I'm not responsible directly for safety and for fire deployment. Having said that, staff from our office last year participated in helping with the fire in terms of boat access, monitoring after the fire was put out, and that kind of thing. I know that every year across the province, we develop plans, fire management plans, so to ensure that we know where our greatest assets are. And the priority is, as you may have learned yesterday, is, you know, life, property, number one, right? And in some areas of the province, because of resources or they've been deployed elsewhere, they are a lower priority and we let the fires burn. That wasn't the case here in Port Alberta last year. And so I can't speak directly to that fire because I was not here at the time. I had the opportunity to be in Hawaii for a few months. But they do, rest assured that we do have a group that specializes in wildfire prevention, suppression, and we've got staff and systems in place to deploy equipment, people, on a priority basis based on life, property, resource values. What else can I say about that?
Just on that, I know
Yeah.
Jeff, I think, had a question too, but just on that same topic, with access gates and that
Yeah.
other topic, that's also, I know you mentioned fire, but fire related, I think people, not everyone might realize, we think of human-started fires as throwing out a cigarette or otherwise, but machine-started in terms of operating
That's
a
right.
quad,
Yeah.
a spark from that.
Yeah.
And the you know, the risks that come from that. So that's the gate issue is also connected to fire safety, from what I understand. Is that correct?
That's correct. As well as for forest companies under the Wildfire Act, they're required to have all sorts of equipment and suppression people and resources available when they're doing industrial activities because of the possibility that machinery and the steel can spark a fire. So they, you know, we've got a whole legislative regime of what's required for them for fire prevention and suppression. Yeah.
Did you have someone that handed over here, Jeff, or was it Colin?
No, it wasn't me. I'm always concerned about the number of logging trucks and loads that go out of this town, and I often wonder, what are the people that cut them down? Do they pay back to the province, or does the community get any economic benefit out of it? All I see is logs going out and out and out, and I still wonder who pays for what they cut, the stumpage fees and so on and so forth. And I just get baffled why this has to be this way.
Yeah, I know. You know, there is this movement. It's a dynamic movement of wood that we have several mills. Like if we take Vancouver Island, Southern Vancouver Island, for example, Western Forest Products, Intrafor has a variety of mills up and down the island, including Port Alberta, Chemainus, Cowichan. I had the privilege of going to the Cowichan Bay Mill by Western Forest Products owns and operates, and had a tour of that mill. I've also seen APD and the SOMAS mill. And these mills are configured for certain types of logs and certain species of logs, and produce certain forest products. And so, if you look at our transportation system, not only by logging truck, but by water, there's so much movement of logs going up and down Vancouver Island. Logs coming from Vancouver over to Vancouver Island for milling, for example, as furnish for the Catalyst paper mill. So, I just caution the thought that by seeing logs go out of the community, that we're seeing logs leave our towns, and therefore not having jobs and opportunities for our local people, because there are also logs coming in. In fact, I saw Western Forest Products had a news release about a month ago that just talking about, with the changes in the TFL as I've described, and treaties and so on, their footprint on the land base has shrunk compared to when I first started with McMillan Modell in 1989 at Cameron Division. Quite a different look and feel. And so because of that reason, a lot of their furnish for their mills, logs, come into the valley, right? And then, so there's this transportation of getting the right logs to the right mill. We also have, absolutely, we do have log exports, right, that leave, there's ships that come into the valley and that leave for Japan, Korea, wherever. And, those are important markets too. By and large, they pay a higher price, but there's safeguards. We're not shipping all our logs out there. There are safeguards in terms that there has to be a surplus test. So that means it has to be surplus to our needs, our local needs. So there's no demand for manufacturing.
What percentage of logs are cut on Vancouver Island that are actually sent off the island versus what comes back?
Yeah, I don't have that figure for you, but I'd be happy to take your name if I could, and I can get back to you on that. I would, well, I don't even want to hazard a guess, but I would say, no, I'm not going to hazard a guess. Can I get back to you on that? Yeah? Okay. I see I'm getting...
Yeah, you're getting surrounded.
You feel you're being approached.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of the Rotary Club, I would like to thank you for coming and raising the awareness of forestry in this community. Forestry has been, is, and always will be part of this community, and it would be a sad day if our mills are not here. It will make such a difference. I don't think people understand, and I think a lot of people don't understand the significance of the forest industry, so we appreciate it very much for taking the
Oh,
time.
thank you, Billy.
Small token, and when you
Thank
have
you.
time for your coffee.
Yes, okay. Thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much.
Thank you.